One of my favorite things about college football and the NFL draft is when we get players who come seemingly out of nowhere and make massive leaps into serious draft prospects. We saw this last year with Missouri's Darius Robinson, who really burst onto the scene, had an awesome Senior Bowl, and ended up being a first-round pick. It feels like we always get a couple of these guys each and every season, and this year, I think Oregon defensive tackle Derrick Harmon is one of these players. A guy who has had very solid production for Michigan State over the past few seasons, but after transferring to Oregon has been dynamic and disruptive up front for the Ducks. In a loaded defensive draft class, how high could we see Harmon taken in the 2025 draft? That is what we will be going over in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page, where for $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my draft guide and prospect evaluations. I have over 450 players on my board, and it is perfect for any fan of the NFL draft that wants to learn a little bit more about some of these players. Leave a comment and let me know which players you guys would want to see in a future video, and without further ado, let's take a closer look at Derrick Harmon. Harmon started his collegiate career with the Michigan State Spartans, where he had some really solid success there. In 2023, he finished the season with 20 pressures, 26 tackles, and 21 total run stops. And when he entered the portal, he was viewed as one of the top overall defenders in the group. He decided to transfer to Oregon, where he has been absolutely stellar early on in the season for the Ducks. He has 25 pressures, 7 tackles, and 8 run stops early on in the season, and he's had a massive rise on draft boards. Harmon has some really solid size on the interior of the Ducks defensive line. He is 6'5", 310 pounds, and he has a really great frame for the interior of the defensive line. He is incredibly strong and balanced in both his upper and lower body, and on top of that, he has some really good length for the position as well. Throughout his career, Harmon has been a very reliable run defender up front. He has such a big frame, but I really thought he did an incredible job of closing gaps and making big splash plays in the backfield. He has quickness and showed some solid bursts to get into the backfield, which you love to see from him. Throughout his career, Harmon has generated 42 run stops behind the line of scrimmage, and he's been very productive as a run defender. He has good gap discipline and showed awesome run stop upside. The big area of improvement in 2024 for Harmon has been his pass rush improvement. He has incredibly active hands, and he does a super nice job of batting away offensive linemen's hands and getting into the backfield. He has the quickness to win, he has great hand usage as a pass rusher, and that's been one of his biggest developments, but he also has incredible upper body strength and does a very nice job of winning with a bull rush. He has generated 25 pressures and 3 sacks, which are both already career highs for him. He also is PFF's highest graded pass rusher from the interior this season and has a 19.4% pass rush win rate early on in the year. He's been incredible as a rusher this season, but there are still some concerns because throughout his career, he's never been a very productive pass rusher at all. So there may be concerns there, but you love to see the improvement, and it gives you hope about his NFL projection. The biggest issue with Harmon in his game is his tackling consistency. He is a player who has just really struggled to consistently wrap up and make tackles in the backfield. He has a near 17% missed tackle rate, but 2024 has been a career worst for him. He has a 30.8% missed tackle rate, and I think he has to improve his consistency in these areas if he's going to have a long career at the NFL level, because he takes good angles. It looks like a lot of his attempts are arm tackles. Now I know Ashton Jeanty was a big reason why this number is so high, but he doesn't hit with a ton of power, and he's got to be more consistent in terms of wrapping up. I also think that his pad level is very inconsistent. On some play he plays lower to the ground, which you love to see, and on others, he's a lot more vertical than you'd like to see, and he couldn't generate the same amount of power. And I'd like to see him be a little bit more consistent in terms of his stance. Harmon has developed a lot as a pass rusher, and when you mix that with the run defense that he has shown throughout the rest of his collegiate career, you feel pretty awesome about what his projection could be at the NFL level. This is an absolutely loaded defensive tackle class, but Harmon has really impressed me this season, and he has jumped up to my number 5 defensive tackle in the draft. He has a rare blend of pass rush upside, run defense, and athleticism that I think is just very rare to see. He is my number 35 overall player on my big board. Harmon is a very scheme versatile prospect, but I think he probably works best in a role where he lines up in the B gap as a 3-tech. That is where he has played most of his snaps this year for Oregon, and I think that's where he has seen the most development and where he's going to thrive in the NFL. I think the only worry I have with him there is while he has solid athleticism, it is not necessarily incredible. But I think given his very solid strength, balance, and overall hand technique, he would be an awesome 3-tech at the NFL level. My player comparison for Derrick Harmon is going to be Miami Dolphins defensive tackle Zach Sieler. Sieler has been one of the most underrated players in the NFL over the last few seasons because of his impact as both a run defender and as a pass rusher. Both of them have very similar size, win with their hands, create pressure up front, but are also very good run defenders as well. Sieler has been a mainstay for the Dolphins defensive line, and I think Harmon can have a very similar role and impact in the NFL. Derrick Harmon is disruptive. He has incredible hands as a pass rusher, and he's been a very productive player throughout his collegiate career. He's been a massive draft riser, and I ultimately believe that Derrick Harmon will be a top 50 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.